I am doing in League, where I'm going with the League, what I'm deciding to do, etc., etc., and how I'm going about basically getting whatever I can taken care of as soon as I can. Um, by this, I mean I am taking care of trying to most likely craft myself a really crazy pair of boots pretty soon. Nothing like mirror tier, but just perfect for me. So I'm going to see if I can't get that going, along with a step-by-step on how to do it with a video. And then I'm going to be crafting my double elevated gloves again this league. I might attempt to try for a triple elevated pair depending on how lucky I get and my funds. As you know, Aug Influence is a very expensive craft to try and hit, so I really don't want to try and buy that off of someone if I can help it. So what I might be doing is farming for a harvest relatively soon, just so I can stock up on 1 or 2 Aug Influences to make these gloves a reality. Now, without further ado, I wanted to post some results on what I'm doing. As you know, in my last video, I posted a how to farm blight maps in pretty much tandem and consistency and whatnot, with basically one every other map. A couple times I actually got 2 per 1 map. And here's my results. I do have a buyer lined up for these, so I will be getting a big ton of just output out of these as well. He's going to buy them up front, and I'm going to cut him a deal with the implication that he has to also maybe give me a little bit of sextants that drop out of them, just so I can continue my map juicing. Since he's not map juicing and running blight, he doesn't need the sextants, so that works out for both of us. I do have a couple of things I am working on the sidelines. As you know, I have begun enchanting helms, and I have a stockpile of twice enchanteds. So this whole side row is twice enchanteds. I do have a project which, this is kind of a spoiler. If you can tell what it is, great. If not, it's not a big deal. I have changed once again back to Deadeye, and I have dropped the Ice Shot enchant, mainly because I really love the Ice Shot enchant, but it's not be all end all best for me. I have a whole slew of helmets that I have been sitting here enchanting and whatnot, including a Burning Arrow debuff. I actually double corrupted a Freezing Pulse Totem helmet, and I have a sale on hold for it, which I'm going to be hopefully getting about another 21 exalts pretty soon here. And then I have started double corrupting some enchanted helms to make some serious currency if possible. Oh, excuse me. We have basically been spending our currency on whatever we can to try and make some profit every here and there. So far, I've only sold 1 double corrupted helmet and haven't sold this yet. I've begun crafting this belt up. This is the current state of it, with a T3 life, T1 flash recovery rate, and triple T1 reses. I'm probably going to either sell it as is, or I'm going to find someone who wants to finish the craft for me and pay them to do it. We'll see how that goes. I have begun doing all kinds of other fun stuff just in general. I have recently picked up a bunch of these, so I will be covering this farming method next. This is my next farming method, so just you can chalk that up to what one more way to make a bunch of currency really easily. I know this was a early on kind of method, but I don't like to cover the meta methods early on. I like to cover the off meta methods, and then the meta methods can come as I go. And I just really don't like farming breaches all that much. However, just recently I did pick up a big stockpile of scarabs. I now have enough scarabs to sit there and consistently farm essentially anything I want to. I basically have a whole list of things I'm going to be doing pretty soon, and because I have a big list of scarabs, a big chunk of them, I will now be starting my 16 map grind session really soon here, which is going to be an entire 16 maps running the Nemesis for currency with extra Harbinger, using 3 of my Watchstones and 1 random suffix one, Nemesis for currency. Then I have 2 Watchstones rolled with rare packs. Now, I would actually recommend, if you can, roll a Beyond one. However, because I have been trying to roll on my main Watchstones without any luck to hitting Beyond, I just essentially had 3 elevated sextants left, and I hit 1, 2, 3, all back to back in tandem. And as you can see, this is a T1 rare monsters drop currency, T1 rare monsters drop currency, and Chaos Orbs T1 chance to drop as full stack. So I am on top of this one having more rare monsters, and this one having unique bosses can drop div cards, which kind of helps out. I won't be getting beyond, so it's not going to be too cracked out, unfortunately. But there is a bit of a silver lining in this, because I am running, most likely going to be running a quarter of these, or a third of these, should I say, in T1 maps. I'm probably going to be just spamming and rolling, Nemesis and Beyond on one map. We'll see. But just kind of letting you know, like, hey, pretty soon I'm going to probably be posting the results of this farm that I've been saving up this whole time. This one farm is probably going to push me well over not only the cost for all the sextants I've spent so far this league, but the cost of all of the elevated sextants, the cost of all of these watchstones, the cost of everything like that. And what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably empty out my currency tab before I start this farm, and basically either put it in offers and buy some stuff and just like spend, or dump it into a empty tab to show you how much raw currency I'm going to be getting in this circumstances. Some things I won't be emptying out because I have too much of is going to be the smaller bubblegum currency, such as chromatics and chisels and stuff, but I will be having a before and after kind of setup to where I can show you, hey, this is what I got, this is what I started with, and then after this is what I'm going to get. Now there's a whole lot of planning that went into work to get this. I am on console, so getting the supplies up at a timely fashion isn't very viable. This took me a long time, and it took me a lot of elevated sextants, roughly 5 to 10 exiles just in elevated sextants, to only hit the Nemesis 4 currency. I have been getting elevated sextants here and there off of deals and off of trades with people that aren't juicing and aren't trying to do that, and I still have a literal, like, metric fuck ton of Nemesis 3 currency maps to run. But what I'll probably do is I'll probably sell these to friends really cheap, just so they can get some currency up, and so I can still have a little bit of currency from them without worrying about just like passing them up. I do have a plan on what I'm doing pretty soon here, as far as the rest of my kit, but yeah, so far the progress is pretty good. I'm back up to 58 exalts almost in one day. I have been selling things left and right. I've been getting exalts left and right for enchants, and I've been just getting a whole bunch of stuff all lined up for me really nicely, and I really like that. Now I do have a couple of projects in the heist I'm doing, and I will explain. As you know, if you're not splitting heist blueprints, you need to start, and that's because split beasts are so cheap in comparison to the cost of finding another blueprint like this. So just as an example, we have 8 currency, 5 divination, we have 3 harbinger, 3 fragment. Now I know on PC this may not be the ideal blueprint to split, but on console this is gold. The fragments, especially for me, this gives me map juicing fragments such as sacrifices along with Uber Siri fights. I don't do them, but I might find someone who does and sell them to them if I really want to. It also gives me the Harbinger chest. The Harbinger chest can drop me not only Exalt shards, but Harbinger scarabs, including gilded. And then the divination chests are just like icing on the cake. Just in the 5 divination rooms alone, I will be making more than the 50C it took me to split this. That's not including all of the currency I get from the 8 currency rooms and all the currency shards I get from the rest of the splinters there and inside the Harbinger rooms. So that being said, if you're splitting your blueprints, you're going to be making a lot more currency this way. I know by talking about it on console and people learning about this, what this will mean is the price of split beasts will slowly go up, especially because my subscribers do watch me play and they do take after my methods. So Just a heads up, if you do decide to split your blueprints, make sure they have a high count in rooms. If you count, I counted 8 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3, right? So all in all, that ends up being what? That's 13, 16, 19 rooms that I'm going to be actively opening up and taking everything from. And sometimes I'll have so much loot that I'll actually leave with the loot and come back in. Then we have rooms like, or blueprints like this, which are not splittable necessarily, but are still good. This is a 7 currency, 1 map, 1 delirium, 3 delirium, 1 metamorph, 1 what is that? Blight rooms. And basically, it's not a huge amount of rooms, but it's a 12 roomer, 13 roomer that I'm going to be running. I won't be splitting this, but this is kind of like the threshold of what you're looking for. This one has 19, this one has 12. I recommend if you're going to be splitting these blueprints, you have at least 15 rooms. Now, I've covered a couple of things, a couple of updates. As you see, I have a couple of split beasts already saved up, not only for splitting my blueprints, but I also split the Blizzard Crowns. That way I can use them and enchant them and sell them. I've yet to sell one this league, unfortunately, but I'll get there. I do have a whole bunch of Delirium maps and Blight maps that all have Blight and Delirium rolled, just sitting there, Delirious and Blight and everything on them. This actually needs to be just put in my map tab. And I have a literal, fuck ton of watchstones that I can just roll and do other farming methods. Now, there are a couple of farming methods that I wanted to go over with people that are interested. So first things first, I know of a really good method to farm Azurite without ever entering the mines. Now, I have experimented with this in Standard, and I have rolled the watchstones, and I can go to Standard to post the video to show you this. But if you guys want to see it in action from a standpoint of I'm in League, I don't have everything, this is what it would cost on average in League, I can do that for you. Just leave a comment. Other farming methods that I can show you that I have yet to cover are the June farming in this area. I've yet to roll the watchstones, but farming June in this area is extremely profitable because June this league is really valuable, seeing as Isling slams are 4x each. I can cover breaches in this area as well, along with the possess, how to farm these really well. The possessed seance node is really good to farm if you know what you're doing. Just remember, it can kind of be a little touch and go and sketch at times, so just be warned. There also is Harvest that you can farm, and there's also Sulfite and Azurite you can farm here if you like delving. I personally don't like entering the delve, but I know how to farm the Azurite without ever, entering delve. And then we have Lexajoris, which I have yet to cover this league, which has Kadiro farming. It has a couple Metamorph farming, which I've done last league, but they're kind of meh. And then it has Alva farming here. And then the big one that everyone likes is the Cluster Jewel and the Delirium Orb farming methods that you do here. Now, I can go over anything that people want to know, especially if you want to know something that I haven't covered before. I also have Glennick that I haven't touched yet. That's another big farming area that you can do. So if any of these interest you, please feel free to leave a comment on what does interest you and what you want to see. As far as updates to my build, I am finally getting around to that. So let's see. We have a new helmet with a Sniper's Mark enchant, and the reason why we have that is because we are taking the focal point node. So with this, I have 75% plus 30% for a whopping 115%, I believe it is. Let me see, 70, 80, 90, 100, 105%, sorry, 105% increase effect of my Sniper's Mark. On top of that, I have 25% less damage taken from other enemies near the marked enemy, meaning I basically, and of course marks I inflict aren't removed from dying enemies, meaning that any enemy is going to basically do 25% less damage for me, including the dying, including anything surrounded by the dying enemies. Then we have over here, I dropped one of my non-damaging element clusters because it didn't lose me too much, and I decided to take Evil Eye and Dark Discourse. right there. Dark Discourse gives me 6% effective curses and hinders all enemies that are cursed. And Evil Eye gives me 5% increased damage from enemies I curse take 5% increased damage, so it's a 5% more damage dealt. And enemies are blinded for 4 seconds if they haven't been cursed already. So that's a really, really, really huge pickup for me. It kind of helps my kit and tooltip and a little bit to try and just push a little bit further. And then we have a little, just 3 curse effect for 9 curse effect. Overall, I am sitting at 100 and 105 plus 9, 110, 114 curse effect with Sniper's Mark. If I were to go and select my Sniper's Mark, for example, my Sniper's Mark, I don't think it shows. Let's see, it doesn't really show because it only shows the increased effect on the enchant. But right here it says 30% increased effective curse. Cursed enemies take 40% increased damage from projectile hits. I gain mana flash charges when I hit a cursed enemy, and life flash charges when I hit a cursed enemy, no more than once every 0.5 seconds. And then projectiles split towards 4 additional targets. Now I am unsure exactly on the 75% effect of my mark because I don't know how that applies, if it applies in the tooltip or what it does. I don't think it does because it doesn't look like it does. But one thing I will say is that as is, cursed enemies taking 46% more damage from my hits on top of cursed enemies taking the 5% in my tree and that little notable, and then the utility that I get from my ascendancy. I am basically deleting packs without even worrying about anything. Now, what I might end up doing eventually is I might end up scaling my single target with Sniper's Mark and then not even using a split target skill. And if I can do that well enough, basically I will probably have 150% to 200% Sniper's Mark curse effect eventually. We'll see. If I do that, I do have to kind of tweak a little bit of things, maybe drop a curse and increase my curse effect artificially. We'll see. But as is, we're going to kind of play with the build, see where we can take it. And I am really loving it as is. I am able to do Conquerors relatively easy. I don't die on Conquerors. I have tried doing the abuse to where you do this enchant here, the Vengeance Cascade, along with Hydrosphere, but I don't think I attack fast enough to make it a overall amazing setup. So I'm probably gonna re-anoint this eventually, or I'll just leave it because it doesn't really hurt me at all. It just gives me more clear, and I really like that. So yeah. Without further ado, this has been Chaos-Reighn. I do appreciate you joining me here today and in taking all of this in. I do hope that you comment and like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, any inquiries, any wonder about any part of my build or anything like that, please feel free to send me a message and feel free to just let me know what you want to know, and I'll post it. Thank you so much for watching again, and like always, take it easy everybody, and have a good night.